Hey everyone, it's James Lambert, the motivational coach and speaker. I went from headlocks to hugs. I still embrace people, just now in a more positive way. So in today's video, I really wanted to share this quote with you. The map is not the territory. And that's attributed to a scientist, an American Polish scientist and philosopher, Alfred Korzybski. I'm not entirely sure on the pronunciation of his surname, but yes, Alfred Korzybski. He was as I say, American Polish scientist and philosopher, and he came up with this statement, this quote: "The map is not the territory." And I want to explain what I think of it. I find it very endlessly fascinating. So, for example, the map. We've all, but not so common now, we all have tom-toms or gizmos in the car. But remember in the old days you actually had a paper map, you actually had to open it, and sometimes it was quite enormous if you were ever going on car journeys as a child growing up. And these maps, they represent maybe a town, county, or ultimately country. Of course you have maps of the world. But of course when you look at that map, you can look at the map of the United Kingdom. But that's not reality, because of course you come to the United Kingdom, the country's much bigger than the map. Now that seems, of course that seems like common sense. Well, of course. But what people do, they often, and I've done it myself, they confuse the map with the territory. And that's down to a number of things, but particularly language. Because what it alludes to is that sometimes it's more than the sum of its parts. So I can describe to you the map, I can describe to you my journey to South Africa, but of course when you go to South Africa, it will mean something entirely different based on, of course, your language, your perceptions, your filters. So even when we say something like, with words, that's why they can be both helpful and unhelpful, because they're based on what it means to you in your own context growing up and life experiences. So, of course, and they hold different meanings. So I could say, even just a handle. A handle to mean that I may know what I mean, but a handle to what, you may ask if you're astute. But in my mind, I'm presuming a handle to a briefcase or suitcase. But you may be thinking a handle to a mop or something on the floor or a door handle. So you see, it can be quite ambiguous. And yet when I say a handle, I can at times, and I've done this before in other things, I presume you know what I'm talking about. And of course, the word is the same, handle, but it means two entirely or more different things depending on how many people are talking at any one time. So this can be very, very useful in meetings and when we are talking to other people, even our partners, to make sure that what we are saying is both understood by the other person and we don't just take it for granted. This happens a lot in relationship breakdowns. Or well, she knows I love her. Well, how? Have you said it recently? No, but she knows that. Really? See, it's very presumptuous. And also, even that word love, it can be very ambiguous because, as we know, like the ancient Greeks told us, love is multifaceted and they had different, I forget the different terms, but like agape and so on. So there could be friendly love, the love you have for a pet, the love you have for your life partner, your wife or husband, the love you have for a favourite movie. All of these different things. Now you use the word love, but look at how many meanings that has. So again, and it brought to mind this image of, people that are blindfolded and they're each feeling a bit of a large elephant. So of course that's feeling the tail has a very different perspective than somebody who's equally blindfolded but feeling the long trunk. And then again, different to somebody that's blindfolded, still feeling the elephant, but could be feeling the foot or the smooth skin. So you see, it's still just an elephant, but based on one's perspective and where you are in relation to it, you will get a completely different thing. For instance, somebody feeling the tail might think it's a snake or whatever. Different things. And yet you are describing the same thing. I find this so fascinating. And again, bring it back to the map analogy. The map is not the territory. I thought about if any of you have visited London and gone on the tube, It's world famous now, but the tube map. And of course, it rather helpfully says the different stations. Could be London Victoria, Piccadilly, Sloane Street, Knightsbridge, etc., etc. But of course, you can look at that on the map, and it says Knightsbridge, for example. And yet, the map is not the reality, because when you get off at Knightsbridge, it's not just a little dot, coloured dot on the tube map. There's shops, and there's this, and there's Harrods, and fancy cars, and many people milling about. So I hope this gets you to understand the map is not the territory. And so even when we can be describing the same things, it means something entirely different based on your filters, your perceptions. And this isn't right or wrong, by the way, but it can be very useful in establishing what you are talking about in communication and so on, resolving conflict. I did this previously in my role as a bouncer. Things could so easily be misunderstood. Of course, particularly when people are drunk or high on drugs, but you could say something seemingly innocuous and innocent, and yet it could be taken the wrong way. So I just encourage you to think about that. The map is not the territory. Alfred Korzybski, and how that could potentially help you in your life. So as always, I hope the content in this video has provided you great value. You are unstoppable, and I believe in you.